talking about how to dehydrate frozen vegetables. Yeah, why would you want to do that? Well, because we just got out of COVID-19 and everybody bought out all the grocery stores. And so in that situation, you may not have freezer room. So you might want to dehydrate some of your things. So I am here with my mom, Jill. I'm Tara. We are the authors of the Dining on a Dime cookbook where you can eat better, spend less. You can get it in the link in the description below at livingonadime.com. Okay, Mother?
Take over. There's 3 ways that I've used to dehydrate, and there's several others that you could use too, but we're going to concentrate on the 3 today. If you just want to start out very beginning, what you can do is get a cookie sheet, and you can do the same thing with the cookie sheet. Lay all this stuff that I'm going to be showing you on a cookie sheet and put it in the oven at 130 to 160 degrees. Now my oven won't go down that low. It's 170, so I would use it anyway. It's not like basic cooking where you have to have an exact temperature. You're just drying the food out. Some people even put these things in their car during the summer with the windows rolled up and the heat's enough to do it.
If you don't have an oven or you don't want to turn on the oven in summer, or you don't have a dehydrator, you can put it on a cookie sheet in your car.
In your car, yeah. And I would put parchment paper down if it's going to get sticky or gooey, just because I don't have a dishwasher. So you can lay it on parchment paper and reuse the parchment paper too if it doesn't get messy. And so also, this is a good time to do your frozen vegetables. Is in the winter, use your oven, and it helps keep the kitchen warm. So you're doing a double whammy. But although even if you do it in the summer, because you're going to be harvesting from gardens and stuff, you can do fresh. Everything I'm talking about on the frozen, you can do with the fresh. And so when in the summer, you've got all these fresh vegetables, you can do the same thing with them and put them, and we'll show you on some fresh ones too. And the heat's so low that it won't be, it won't make the kitchen too bad if you need to do them during the summer. So you can do them in the oven. The other way you can do them is in one of these things. This we've had out in the garage because we don't use this as much anymore. And you can get the trays. But you can get these trays like this, and you find them at garage sales.
So what you guys can't, well, maybe you can tell. So I have 2 different dehydrator trays here. So I got this at a garage sale for $5. And I had an old dehydrator that broke, but used the same trays. So I just stacked 4 trays on. You can stack these up
as high as you want. It doesn't matter. You can just stack them really high if you need to. And all this does is just plug in. You don't have to do temperature adjusting or anything. And you just plug it in and use it. The other one that we use is Excalibur, and it has an adjustable temperature and the square flat trays like this on it, and that's my favorite. But if you're just beginning, it's a little bit more expensive. But
I will say this Excalibur, they sent this as a sample 17 years ago.
Yeah.
They sent us this Excalibur 17 years ago as a promotion on our blog for our dehydrating video. And I'll tell you, we've had it 17 years and we use it pretty much every year, and it's still going strong. So even though it's a couple $100, we've way more than gotten our money out of it.
Yeah. So. And the other thing too is that's probably one of 2 of my most favorite appliances. If I had a choice between a KitchenAid mixer, stand mixer, or this, I would choose this because this does more things for me. It really does.
So why would you not just can your food, Mom?
Well, the thing is,
you can.
Yeah, you can can. Yeah. But usually when the gardens are coming in, it's so hot, I just couldn't do it physically. It would be too much. This, I can just cut the stuff up and throw it in there. I don't have to cook anything. I don't have to stand over a hot stove, boiling, cooking. It takes a lot less pots and pans and jars, and
a lot less dangerous.
Well, I do use jars to put it in, but it's not. You're not dealing with boiling things, and I feel more secure. Most canning is pretty good nowadays. You don't have to worry about that. But it's just also why I don't can is because for the same amount, I can have one jar that will hold equal to like 4 jars or so of canning jars. So I really like this for space. That's why we even for freezer, why we do freezer stuff. If you, let's say you've got, now these are small tiny bags, but you can buy huge bags of vegetables like this, freezer vegetables, and you find chicken on sale and your freezer is full. Drag these bags of frozen vegetables out, dehydrate them, and they'll fill up a little jar. A great big bag about this big will fill up a quart jar, you know. And so it takes up much less space. And the same way with the canning, it takes up less space than if I would can.
Yeah.
I also, for example, like with canning applesauce and stuff like that, I don't have to have a whole lot of sugar to use for that at the moment and to buy a lot, because I can just take a handful of dried apples and mix up a small amount that I want and use sugar a little bit at a time instead of putting the expense in for a whole lot of things like that.
That's why we don't can.
Well, it's just, you know, it's so much
a personal preference.
Yeah,
if you enjoy canning, you go right ahead.
You go ahead, but it's just for my physical strength that I used to can years ago, but this is very much easier for me, and it works to me just about as well, like the flavor does. So now, let's see, I got all 3 of those. Also, I'm going to use frozen today, and I'm going to put these on the tray and show you how to put them on the tray. But if you have fresh vegetables, if you have fresh peas, green beans, carrots, anything, we'll do carrots maybe a little bit later, but corn, anything like that, the same thing that you do with the frozen, you can do with the fresh vegetables from your garden, and you just lay them on the trays. Now, another tip too, before I pour these, I mean, they're very simple. This is all you have to do. You just pour them on the tray and then spread them out. You see, there's nothing to this really, but this is a tip. Okay, this bag was partially open. What if some families tend to do this, mine, you know, you have partially these little tiny bits of different partial bags. Nobody's tend to eat the last little bit sometimes, or there's just a small amount in there or whatever. What you can do is then, if I have something left over that somebody's not eating, you can put, you know, several different things on here. Like I have carrots now. If I have a small bag of carrots, then I can just lay those on there and dehydrate them and put them in a little package. Then they're all ready to go. If you need a single serving or a double serving, you've got these little simple amounts that you can put in. You can vacuum seal them or just put them in a regular little jar or a baggie even, if you want to. Now the main thing is I don't have, see, like this is piled up. You don't want them, you kind of keep them not thick. You don't want them stacked on here. See how I've spread them out? Now, don't get real crazy about this and take and line each one of these little carrot things up. You know, that's kind of overkill. I do so much, I would be forever if I did that. The main thing is to keep the thinness on here. Now, I could get a few more things on this tray, but the thing is, because I had these 2 separate items, I didn't want to add a third one in. So I could just go ahead and, so I will just probably stick it into my main dehydrator. You could do the same with frozen corn. Actually, this size bag is really perfect because it almost covers. See how I'm just spreading them out a little bit? This is a big chunk. It won't matter. Yeah, you don't throw them on the floor like that. And so I just kind of pat them down. There's a few sitting on top. It's not that big of a deal. Then once again, I put it in the tray. You could do this with peas, green beans, frozen hash browns work really great. You know, if you don't want to cook.
Another video on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do one on doing hash browns from scratch, and I'll mention that again. But anything frozen like that, you can stick in here and do that. Now, I will put these, like I said, in the dehydrator, whichever one you're using, and then let them dry. It really depends on what you're dehydrating. Like this is tiny thin corn. The carrots were a little bit thicker. So you just, for your climate, like it's so humid in Kansas, I usually have to do mine about double of what they normally say to do it. In Colorado, we'll probably just it won't take us too much time. But
Colorado, it dries on the counter.
I know, before we get it in the dehydrator. But, you know, it won't, you have to judge for your area and the thickness of what you're making. One thing too, like I got a book with mine so I can check if I'm unsure, but you know what? You're just drying it out. If you dry it out an extra day longer, it will make no difference in the world. And as a matter of fact, I like to dry mine a little bit longer than what they normally say, because some things they say to dry until they're flexible and rubbery. Certain things I like them more into chips, so I will let them dry an extra day longer. So just check them. And with most of these, 2 days would be fine. Even 24 hours if you're in a dry climate, these will be fine. And you can just hear, we'll show you on when these get done. I will show you so you can hear the sound and what they look like when they're dry, and then that will give you a sense of, you know, when they're done. We'll show you.
Okay, we'll be right back. All right, it's 2 days later. Our stuff is dehydrated, but Mom had a few points that she wanted to point out before we show you the dehydrated food.
Yes, I forgot to let you know, to make your jelly rolls, or fruit roll-ups is what they're called, or fruit leather, either one. You can, if you don't have this type of thing to go with your dehydrator, or for the Excalibur either, you can order sheets from Excalibur, plastic sheets, but you could also get some thin plastic at a craft store and just cut out and make your own.
You can probably use parchment paper too.
Oh yeah, you can use parchment paper. You know, just take your round thing and set it on there and draw around it and then cut it out. And the same way with the Excalibur, you can just lay the parchment paper or plastic. The plastic you can reuse over and over again. Now, sometimes when you make the round things like this, you may have to cut it in half, and it's easier to make it and do it. If you just adjust it how you can. Also, when I do small things like the vegetables, the mixed vegetables and that type of thing, those will fall through on one of these. But you can go to a craft store or Joann Fabrics or someplace like that, and you can buy this. It's needlework.
Needlepoint canvas.
Yeah, needlepoint canvas. And then you do the same thing. Just set this on here and take a mark around. You may have to just cut it in half and then do one half and do the other half. And so you can make your own. You can order them from the company of the dehydrator that you have, or make your own, and they're not very expensive at all. And so I wanted to be sure to let you know on that part.
In case you need it. Okay, so here's the corn. This is what the frozen corn looks like when it's been dehydrated. Apparently this makes a really good snack, I guess.
Yeah, just to eat it like this out of a jar, so. What do you think?
Yeah, tastes like dried corn.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know why the birds love it. Very good.
Okay, I wanted to show you the difference. I want to show you how to package them and show you. Originally, I wanted to do this video because a lot of people are filling their freezers up now, or they get a good buy and they have a good buy on meat and stock up, and they don't have room in their freezer for everything. So if you have frozen vegetables like this, you can just take it out, dehydrate it, and this will work just as good once it's rehydrated as if it had been come right out of the freezer. Now I wanted you to see, of course, we've had some family members
getting
into it, but I wanted you to see the difference of how much space. I could probably put this is one whole bag of these in here. So I could probably get 5, maybe 6 bags of these in this one jar. So look at the difference that you can save in storage. Besides, this is much easier just to keep on a shelf. You're not having the freezer running, keeping it frozen, and so you're saving on electricity and that type of thing. That's why I really love doing dehydrating. I do freeze some stuff, but I prefer dehydrating over other things. So that'll show you the difference. And you can just put them in these jars. I have a vacuum sealer, And so I like to vacuum seal everything, because when you vacuum seal it, I think like 5 years or so, just doing nothing more. But if you just keep them like this would be 2-3 years, I think. Dehydrate, it takes a long time.
I've got some that are 5 years old that
Yeah.
I'm still using.
Without being
Yeah.
vacuum sealed, you know. So it stays a really long time. Now, some preppers and stuff do use the oxygen packages, and if you're wanting to keep it for like 20 years or something like that, you can put the oxygen packages in and dehydrate and do all that type of thing. Mine goes pretty, I keep rotating mine on my shelf, so I don't usually go through all that and do that. So you can just keep them in a regular jar. Say, wash out your glass jars when you get them from not pickles, but you know, certain things, mayonnaise or whatever.
Well, if you have something like a pickle jar, let's say that's the only jar you have, put a little bit of baking soda and fill it up with water, and that will take out the taste
flavor
of the pickle.
Now, another thing you can do too, like maybe I did this amount of corn, but I don't have any more corn to do, but I have some mixed vegetables that are dehydrated. So what I could do is take and put them in baggies and then slide them inside the jar. And then you can keep 2 or 3 different types of vegetables, say carrots or something, layered, and pull out whichever package you want. And so that'll work. You can also just keep them, you know, in Tupperware containers.
You can just lay them flat on the shelf.
Yeah, and just pile them like that. So they're very easy to store. You don't have to have you don't have to take the expense of going out and buying canning jars if you don't want to, type of thing.
All right, guys, it is 2 days later. Whoopsie. Oh, dear. Here is what they look like dehydrated. Right there.
They look really scary now. Don't panic when you see this. This
is the crinkle carrots right there.
I threw my first batch away because I thought I'd done something wrong with them.
There's the peas and carrots. All right, so this is basically it. You can put it in a jar, or you can put it in a bag, or you can put it however you want in to store it. If you want, you can use these little oxygen packets. They help keep the oxygen from getting to your food so that they last longer. Those are perfectly fine. We use ours fast enough that it usually isn't a problem. Then, to go ahead and rehydrate them, all you do is add water to a bowl or cup or whatever you want to do, and pour boiling water over your dehydrated vegetables. Now, if you're using them in like a stew or something, just dump them in the stew.
Yeah, and when you put them in a stew or a soup and you're going to simmer it like for a few hours, that type of thing, they need at least 30 minutes to an hour to rehydrate in a soup or a stew if you're doing them like that. If you're just pouring the boiling water over it, that's the fastest method, because it only takes like 5 to 15 minutes depending on which thing you're rehydrating if you use boiling water. Now, you can use hot water and pour over them, but or just do them like that, but I would store them in the refrigerator overnight. It takes a little bit longer when you do like that. That's why I always use the boiling water to rehydrate them, because
rehydrate pretty quickly.
It does, yeah, really fast, and you can use them. So,
all right, so that's how you do mixed vegetables. Please like, subscribe, and share. Please give us a great big thumbs up. Hit the little notification bell when you subscribe so you can know when we get more videos, and we will see you guys next time. Visit us at livingonadime.com.